Did you know that the Igbo people, also known as Igbo, are the second largest and one of the most influential ethnic groups in Nigeria? They have a population of over 40 million people in Nigeria, and they are spread out all over the world. They are well known for their entrepreneurial endeavors, not only in Nigeria, but in every region that they inhabit. They are traditionally subsistence farmers. They harvest crops like yams, corn, cassava, taro, melons, pumpkins, and beans. Land is owned communally and is readily available for farming and building. Most Igbo people can currently be found in southeast Nigeria in a place called Igbo land, which is divided in two sections along the Niger River. In Nigeria, they live mostly in 5 states: Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo, as well as in parts of the Delta Rivers and Benue states. Small Igbo communities also exist in Cameroon, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea. The exact origin of the Igbo people is unknown, but there has been a series of archaeological evidence found that points them to a few different locations. There are biblical accounts of their origin. However, the Igbo people traditionally did not have a Bible until colonialism. And like other African cultures, the Bible was forced onto their ancestors. Some believe that they are one of the lost tribes of Israel. Although the Bible is a book that can contain some truths if decoded properly, there is no archaeological evidence to back these claims. There has, however, been archaeological evidence found in Igbo land dating back to 2550 BC, and this proves that they have been in their current location for several thousand years. Through the studying of our story, we've discovered that many West African ethnic groups have inhabited the Nile Valley region, including Kemet and Nubia. When we look at a map, we can clearly see that present-day Israel and present-day Egypt are exceptionally close to one another, and both on the continent of Africa. Therefore, we can use our critical thinking skills and draw the conclusion that the biblical theory is not so far-fetched. It's important to understand that the Bible is not to be taken verbatim due to it being manipulated by the colonizers. However, we must also remember that bits and pieces, actually a whole chunk, is stolen from ancient African texts. Therefore, it will contain bits and pieces of our truth, mainly the Old Testament and the 70 plus books quote unquote rejected or intentionally left out. Anyway, the Igbo had their own religion and culture hundreds of thousands of years prior to colonialism and Christianity, all forms of it. When the British arrived to Igbo land, they were not allowed to enter initially. It took the British almost 50 years to conquer them. The Igbos were hard to conquer because of their powerful confederation government system. There were a series of wars waged against the British by the Igbo to keep their land, their freedom, and their dignity. This was called the Ekumeku movement. They used guerrilla tactics to attack the British invaders. Like their other African counterparts, the British finally deceived them into giving in by convincing Igbo men to convert to Christianity and become priests. Once they accomplished this, they were able to successfully conquer the Igbo people. They used military imperialism and other forms of colonial exploitation. For a long time, the Igbo people were not having it. They already had their own traditional religion and spiritual practices, and they knew it was better than this new religion. However, the missionaries came in after the British colonial armies, so the Igbo people began to change their minds. They thought converting and associating with the missionaries would ease the colonial situation. The British Christian missionaries targeted the people that were experiencing misfortune and those that were ill or socially disabled and alienated. They knew the weaker ones were easier to convert because they were powerless. It took the missionaries over 30 years to get the Igbo to convert. The missionaries grew impatient, frustrated, and desperate. They began to try anything and everything, good or bad, to capture the souls of the Igbo people. They came to the realization that there had to be violent force to subdue and intimidate the Igbo into accepting Christianity and abandoning their powerful traditional religion. The missionaries' job here was to pretend to be preaching the gospel on the interior while the military used force to invade the exterior. The missionaries even got into the natives' heads, telling them that the gossip they heard of there being an oncoming war was untrue. Traditional Igbo religion includes the belief in one supreme creator named Chukwu. or Chineke, as well as an earth goddess named Allah, and numerous other smaller deities similar to that of the Neteru, or Kemetic nature spirits, make the connection. They also venerated their ancestors who protected them and guided them. Their spirituality kept them strong, and the colonizers knew this, so they targeted Aro Chukwu, an institution dedicated to their supreme creator, Chukwu. They knew once they destroyed their temple, the Igbo people would be struck with fear and surrender their land, religion, and themselves. On December 1st, 1901, the British attacked Arochukwu. The Igbo people fought until March 24th, 1902, and many lives were lost in this war. The other parts of Igbo land were faced with invasion for the next 17 years. The missionaries happily moved in to take advantage of the Igbo people's fear. They had never seen such military firepower on their peaceful spaces. The missionaries promised to protect the Igbo people while they were vulnerable, but that was the plan, to strike fear into them with violence and then be a band-aid to the wound that the missionaries caused themselves. The missionaries only protected those that were converted and remained consistent in attending church. With no defense, the Igbo people rushed to church for protection. This went on until the Igbo people regained their independence from Britain in 1960. They began to develop a strong sense of ethnic identity. They tried to secede from Nigeria in 1967 as the independent nation of Biafra. Let me know in the comment section if you knew these interesting facts about the Igbo people.